Look, this is important information and what ultimately could be important testimony. We've spoken to our legal analyst, Jeffrey Toobin, says, you know, if Michael Brown had his arms up, no matter what happened in the car first, then that is a serious, serious incident and also possibly a crime for the police officer to shoot the young man.
Absolutely.
I want to put the situation in perspective, in the context of what's going on in Ferguson. Ferguson is in St. Louis County. It's a predominantly black community now with a mostly white police force. Only 3 of the city's 53 officers are African American. The police chief, the mayor, they are both white.
According to the most recent census, Ferguson is 67% black and 29% white. In 2013, 483 African Americans were arrested, 36 whites. Let's bring in attorney and radio host Mo Ivory in D.C. Hello, Mo. I'm Professor and historian Jelani Cobb in Ferguson. Thanks so much, Jelani, for joining us as well. Mo, I want to talk to you about these statistics. I hate dropping statistics, except these ones really are indicative of a situation that is going on in Ferguson, essentially an invisible wall between blacks and whites there.
Sure, and that would really go to why there is such an insensitivity between these two communities, meaning the police and the citizens. If you think to yourself that, you know, look at those numbers of the number of African Americans that were arrested versus the number of whites that were arrested. I mean, it's staggering. And that really is important in thinking about the mindset of the police as it relates to the citizens that they're supposed to protect. So, I mean, I feel like all of this information, you know, just really helps us to put into perspective why there is so much animosity between the citizens and the police in Ferguson. And even the mayor a couple of days ago said that, you know, he's been running unopposed, you know, that must mean that people are supporting him. That's not what that necessarily means. When you win an election and you're unopposed, that doesn't necessarily mean that the people are supporting you. That means that you won by the few people that came out to vote. And certainly that is a problem in the African American community, that we are not, you know, standing up to run for office or trying to deal with that problem. But that does not mean that you've been sanctioned as a great mayor because you ran and it was unopposed. There's a problem in Ferguson, a racial problem that has got to be addressed, and it is fueling and feeding the problem that's going on right now.
Jelani, Professor, I'm thrilled you're there because from the outside it looks like there are actually several things going on right now. There is the anger over the shooting the other night. There is the overarching frustration that Mo is talking about, the racial frustration there. And now I think what is sprouting up are these deep-seated concerns about civil liberties. You have what many critics are calling the militarization of these law enforcement officials coming to face the protesters there. This all seems like a very dangerous soup right now.
It really does, quite honestly. One thing that I will say, and that people consistently wanted to get across to me yesterday, I was out talking with community groups. I went to a local restaurant called Kathy's Kitchen, which is near here, and I talked with some other community activists. And one thing that people wanted to get across was that there are a cross-section of people who are really upset about what happened with Michael Brown. And so I passed the protest yesterday that was mostly, if not entirely, white. And so people bristled at the idea of this, of the concern about the issue breaking down along solely racial lines. That said, when you talk to those same people, they will say that there are dynamics that make them quite uncomfortable about the way the political structure here works, with a disproportionate lack of African-American representation, not simply in the city council, whereas, you know, 5 of 6 city council members are white in a city that's 67% black, or that there's never been a black mayor, the fire chief is white, the police chief is white, and so on. But also, when you talk with people here, they're concerned about just economic opportunity, believing that African Americans have been shut out of possibilities here, and those things are really at the bottom, kind of the bedrock of what's going on here as well. When I talked with a man yesterday by the name of Malik Ahmed, runs an organization here called Better Family Life, and which has been here for 3 decades, and he said that, you know, what we saw erupt here has been 15 or 20 years in the making, and it's kind of ongoing economic issues as well.
Professor Cobb and Mo Ivory, I want you both to stay with us. We want to continue our conversation about what we can do about this The ongoing situation in Ferguson, there's ongoing racial divide seemingly in our nation. Stay with us. We're going to continue the conversation.
Yeah, we want to know what all of you think. A lot of you have been tweeting us during